Hi everybody, I am privileged to have Margo McDermed with us again today. She's our state rep for our own office at the 37th District. So thanks for coming out.
Thanks for having me, Gwen.
Now, equal pay. I know this is a passion point. I am looking forward to hearing from you. So tell us a little bit about your work in this area.
Well, this is one thing that's been top of mind in the legislature for the last couple of years, and we don't yet have this particular bill that we're looking at. Of course, the law is equal pay for equal work. That's been the law for a long time, but yet we still don't have equal pay.
Right, we don't have
for women.
Right.
You know, what is it, 86 cents?
Yes.
And that's for white women. It's less even for women of color. So we need to see what else we can do to move ourselves to the goal of equal pay.
Right, really implement it. Yeah.
And one thing that we're looking at is asking for your previous pay, because if women are paid less, and you go to your next job and they're going to base the offer off what you were paid at your last job, how are you ever going to get ahead?
Right.
So what the bills that are have been around for the last couple of years are doing is saying that it's not acceptable to ask an applicant, what was your pay at the last job? Now, in many cases, the pay is known. For example, in many public jobs, your pay is a matter of public record. But we're trying to put it in a situation where you're not required, as a condition of being interviewed or hired, to give your previous salary.
Right. Because then you don't have that person coming in and trying to negotiate down to that dollar amount, because that's what they're going to do as an employer.
That's right. That's right. So why would you want to give them a tool to negotiate against you? That's not necessarily in your best interest. So we're trying to make that unacceptable thing to do.
Great. Now, tell me, what's the source of your passion? Because obviously this is a passion point for you.
Well, Gwen, you know, being a state representative is my second career.
Right.
I spent 30 years as a lawyer. That was my first career, and I did that for 30 years. And I've, for better or worse, never really made what the guys made.
Understood.
So even though I was very highly compensated, I really feel like I would have been even more highly compensated if I were a man. So this is really important to me and to all the women that came up in my generation, and all the women coming in the next generations.
Right. And for all the talk in the illegal industry, there's still not that level of ownership, of partnership, right? I mean, there's so many different levels of that pay compensation structure too. Yes.
In law firms, in the corporate environment where I was, it is still a two-tier system, and we need to break that down for good. Right. That would be a wonderful goal.
That's fantastic. Now, how far along are we in getting the steps accomplished at this point? So, for example, where is that proposed bill in legislation?
Well, they're sitting in committees right now.
Okay.
It was vetoed the last 2 years.
Well, you know, if at first you don't succeed, you try again, right?
That's right. So we're back at it.
Yep, because that's the only way that you can implement change. And I think it's important also, I think that, you know, the other insight I have is the people who leave a job, or they bring people in at a company, right? So you've worked there for years and you've been a woman and you make X amount of dollars, and then they bring somebody in from the outside that might be the opposite sex, and then they're bringing that person in at a higher rate. You know, are you serious? Either the job pays so much money or it doesn't. Yeah. And really trying to do that and make sure that there's that implementation of some sense of equality, because there's so many levels that it happens on.
Yeah, and I don't even want to talk about how many times that happened to me.
So you're right. And that frustration for out there. You know, but as a woman and as a state legislature, you do have this opportunity. And you know, women, we need to be strong as well. We need to stand up for it. We need to be careful how we're interviewing. We need to make sure that we're demanding it and saying that there has to be change that comes. Because you're right, it's the skills that we have, and the longer we put up with it, the less we're going to accomplish. And it's not just about that independence, it's about equality. It's a basic fundamental concept.
If we're doing the work, and we are, then we need to get compensated.
That's exactly right. So, you know, people work hard and they need to be compensated for what they do. That's really the extent of it. Well, I hope that this venture goes well and that we can make some evolution here and move forward for equal pay for everybody.
Let's see what we're talking about in next year's legal review.
Maybe we'll have this all done. So we'll be back, and hopefully we're going to be able to report on it. So thanks again for coming out, and thanks for being a strong advocate for women.
Thanks, Gwen.